All right, let's talk about the MVP candidate himself, Cooper Kupp, whom some people believe should be the MVP. Again, I'm not going to get into that too much, but he's a very good player. There's no denying that. And he might be the most valuable non-quarterback in football. Obviously, quarterbacks matter so much, but wide receivers matter a lot too. And Cooper Kupp has shown that this postseason. He's having one of the best postseasons we've seen. He's currently 160 yards away from breaking the record, which, I mean, Larry Fitzgerald just had like an absurd postseason back in 2008 because, he's only actually around 58 yards away from breaking the second place record. So Larry Fitzgerald in 2008 was great. But he's having a historic postseason. And let's talk about what's making him so effective. So first, let's talk about this play. This was a huge play. This is in a tie game on a 3rd down and 3. And you look at where they're at on the field, Matt Gay hasn't been spectacular this postseason. He isn't 100%. So putting him out there this far, I don't know if he would be able to make it. They really want to get this first down. Maybe would even go for it on 4th. And the way that the 49ers are playing this is something that if you're Cincinnati going up in this Super Bowl, you just should not do. Like, straight up, don't do this ever. Don't blitz Matthew Stafford because Cooper Kupp's going to burn you because he has a one-on-one matchup and there's no one over the middle of the field. And Cooper Kupp just wins these so consistently. It's like such a rarity when he does not win this situation. Look at how right when this play begins, what you're going to see is that, so there is a blitz, but it's picked up nicely by the Rams. And Cooper Kupp at this point, I mean, I'd hate to be the guy trying to cover Cooper Kupp at this point because where is he going to go? I don't think you can sit here and say, clearly he's about to cut. Like, I don't even know. He's probably about to cut. Probably not keep going straight, but maybe he will. He's just such a good route runner, and the stem portion of the route is so impossible to really read anything off of. You don't know where he's going. But what's just as crazy about this stuff is how quickly he goes from basically stopped to back to a top speed. Look at him accelerate. He finds the ball Stafford threw at him, and he's able to continue accelerating in open space because now there's man coverage. He beat his one guy. No one else can get there. Picks up the first down, helps set him up inside field goal range. Big play there in that game. And luckily for Cincinnati, they don't do this too frequently. Now, I should mention, they did run a decent amount of man coverage against the Chiefs in the second half of that game. It's how they got back into it. They're not like a base zone team, as in one of those teams that only plays one coverage. No, they mix it up a decent amount, but they mostly play zone, and so that should be good news for Bengals fans because you don't have to deal with this. However, even in zone, they can burn you. And something like this is a great example where it's going to be a zone coverage play. And what you see is you have a zone buster here where really it's kind of funny how the decoys on this play are not Cooper Kupp, which is typically not how offensive coordinators will do this stuff. Typically, you have Cooper Kupp as the number 1 receiver. He runs further deep because he's going to get the extra attention. You can allow someone else to get open. But this time they have Kupp as the number 3 receiver, so as in 3rd closest to the sideline. And I find that stuff very fascinating. And McVay's not afraid to do this. He's not afraid to put Kupp wherever as long as it means that he's going to have a better chance of getting the football. And so for Cincinnati, what you just have to do is you have to say, listen, the chances are, even though Kupp might not be lined up in a spot where typically that person lined up gets the football, he's probably getting the football because he's Cooper Kupp. You just have to remember, hey, look at him and find him. He's the guy you have to pay attention to. Don't view all players the same. Always look for number 10 before every snap. Look at how when Stafford takes the snap, what you're going to see is that Kupp does just get wide open here. A lot of people are going to say this is because of his explosiveness, and you're not wrong. I mean, his explosiveness is fantastic, but it's also the way McVay uses him, and he puts Kupp in positions to succeed. They both go hand in hand. Stafford makes this throw. Kupp, I mean, he jogged at that point. It looked like they're just playing catch or whatever. So this is what they can do, and they will burn you on this stuff from time to time. So quite frankly, do your best here and just always make sure you're not leaving number 10 alone because we've seen too many teams let that happen and get burned that way. Something like this is another great example of what Kupp can do. So you have Cooper Kupp and a halfback is running out to the flat on that side of the field. That's all that's happening. You have Cooper Kupp and the halfback running out to the flat. If you are a 49ers player in zone here, what you do is say, if they hit an open check down, we'll live with that. That's what you just have to say in these spots. And it feels like teams are overthinking this or just aren't giving Cooper Kupp the respect he deserves. Like, Cooper Kupp should be treated like how you would treat Calvin Johnson. He should be treated how you treat Devontae Adams. And it feels like teams haven't entirely done that. and have gotten burned on it. Look at how right when this play begins, what you're going to see is that, so on a typical play, I wouldn't really hate this coverage too much. You see that the corner is going to bite down to take away the halfback, and then what this means is that you have a safety who's going to be staying deep on Cooper Kupp. But the issue is you can see how this can work, right? If Stafford can push the ball towards the corner of the end zone, Kupp could potentially beat him there. And this is kind of what I mean, where it's like, listen, if this is just, I don't know, honestly, if this is even Odell Beckham Jr., I don't hate this coverage. And Odell's really good. But look at how Kupp is going to get open, and look at how Stafford is able to make a great throw. It all works hand in hand. You just got to respect number 10. Like, that's the takeaway from this video, is respect number 10. Do what you can to cover him. He's still going to burn you at times because he's amazing and he is elite, but you just do what you can to not let him burn you as many times as you possibly can. Although now going over to the flip side, I have to say the Bengals are actually pretty good at stopping this stuff. Like, this is what they typically do pretty well. Like, this is a zone buster that I could totally see the Los Angeles Rams running, and watch what's going to happen. Look at how when Mahomes takes the snap, you're going to see right here, so the linebackers are picking up Tyreek Hill is running over the middle, and they're going to try and stay with him. And this is what Cincinnati can do very well that I think maybe you could feel optimistic about if you're a Bengals fan, is while Cooper Kupp is great at all of this stuff, the Bengals tend to be pretty good at stopping that stuff. And obviously, in man, well, who's going to man up against Cooper Kupp? Well, the answer is nobody in the NFL, so just don't worry about that. If you do play man, make sure you double him. Now, Mahomes makes this throw. There was still a window where you can make it happen. Like, I want to be clear. Typically in these types of coverages, you're basically saying, hey, you're going to have to make a great throw, and your receiver probably will have to make a great catch. And Stafford and Kupp can do that. That's why I keep saying you're not going to shut these guys down. But the way you can limit them is by just forcing things to be difficult for them. Also, something like this, I think, is interesting, where what you're going to see here is that it's going to be a cover 2 zone, and you have Tyreek Hill, and Hill's the main guy I'm watching because he's another elite wide receiver. Some people say Tyreek Hill's the best in football. Some people say Cooper Kupp's the best in football, so I see the comparisons both ways. This is a route that typically can beat cover 2 zone, right? You can see how it works. You can see the bubble it could get into. However, right when this play begins, what you're going to notice is that Cincinnati's corner reads this very well and is covering Tyreek Hill. Now, I also should mention, the check down is a little bit open here, but like I said, you'll live with the check downs. Don't get burned by Tyreek Hill. So the Bengals have the right mindset. So while nobody matches up well against Cooper Kupp because he's just such a force, I think that they can actually limit and are kind of uniquely built to limit Cooper Kupp better than people might realize. Mahomes throws it just a check down to Travis Kelce. He was looking on the other side of the field. It didn't really matter, but just a good example of what Cincinnati can do and why I actually think I kind of like Cincinnati to match up against Cooper Kupp. So that's the thing, is Cooper Kupp is great and he's fantastic, but could I see this being a day where he only gets 75 yards or something? I know, horrible. Yeah, I could see something like that happening where he has only a good day instead of this fantastic day. He'll still make some play. He's Cooper Kupp. Again, don't play man coverage. Don't leave him one-on-one. All that good stuff. But I do think that they kind of are uniquely built to take away a number 1 option a little bit. All right, time for my final chart that I'm putting at the end of all of these preview videos. So at the bottom, you see Cooper Kupp versus zone. I'm giving a +2 to Cincinnati just in terms of how they match up. Again, I'm not saying that the Rams having Cooper Kupp is advantage Cincinnati. No, obviously it's advantage it's advantage Rams. I'm just saying that they have Cooper Kupp, but the matchups actually lean in the Bengals' favor more than it would just going up against any random team. So that's the way I view it. However, as you see, the leader is still heavily the Rams currently, largely due to the Bengals offensive line and the way that the Bengals match up versus the Rams defense. So that's where we're at. And again, this whole thing is just for fun, these chart things. I'll have my actual predictions where I give my final score and stuff at some point before the Super Bowl, so be on the lookout for that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on Cooper Kupp and how the Bengals match up against him in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.